this all meat diet that I've been on, that changes your mind the other way. It makes you more aggressive. Yeah, too much so.
You stink because you eat dead, rotting flesh.
The experience.
Recently, Joe Rogan had former UFC fighter Rashad Evans onto his podcast. I like it when Joe has a fighter on. He has lots in common with them and holds more respect for them. He'll be more open to what they say and be less defensive if they don't see eye to eye on a particular subject.
I don't eat meat anymore, so I know you're a big meat eater.
Yeah,
so.
do you eat fish or any of that?
No.
Nothing? All vegan?
All vegan.
When did you become vegan?
Probably about, I want to say probably about almost 2 years now.
Really?
Yeah, almost 2 years now.
How interesting. Joe seems genuinely interested in the topic now. No doubt the other ex-fighter that he had on a little while back, James Wilkes, had won him over somewhat when he schooled Chris Kresser over his feeble attempts to debunk the Game Changers movie.
Like it?
I love it.
Really?
Love it. It's changed my life, man. It's been one of the things I can honestly say that's just lately that has, changed me from a mental standpoint, physical standpoint, and even a spiritual standpoint.
I definitely think it changes the mind because this all meat diet that I've been on, that changes your mind the other way. It makes you more aggressive. Yeah, too much so.
From my experience, having been the biggest meat eater out of anyone I know, I wouldn't be inclined to disagree.
Yeah, I have to work out extra to keep the demons at bay.
It's the blood.
It is. It's that. It's also like, if you think about it, if your body thinks, okay, I have to eat animals all the time because all this motherfucker eats is animals, right?
Right.
If your body thinks that, your body's going to sort of take on the characteristics of something that's a predator, right? You would become more, this is obviously like some bull bro psychology because I'm a moron.
The broken experience. In all fairness, it seems that Joe has really softened up of late. He's not being defensive of his ways like he used to be. I like this fun, easygoing, self-deprecating Joe.
But I would say your body is going to think, I'm more aggressive. I have to chase down and kill it.
Yeah.
Right? That's you have to be more predatory. But your body has to think that way.
I can get with that. It makes sense, though. It makes sense.
Not quite the same thing, but in a similar ballpark. When I first went vegan, I heard of a study that had found a correlation between having the types of gut bacteria that feed on animal proteins and fats and lowered empathy. Although causation wasn't proven at that point, it would make sense because these bacteria would need us to keep eating flesh for their survival. And we know very well that information is passed from the gut up to the brain. Perhaps a reason why some meat eaters can seem so cold and care so little, while vegans couldn't care more.
Did you do it right after you retired?
I kind of, not right after I retired. It was kind of something that that kind of just happened. Like ever since cause I do mushrooms, right?
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So it was when I did when I had a really, really deep trip that just caused me to have one of those ego deaths. Mm-hmm. And when I had the ego death, I was like in a state where this knowingness was coming to me. And it was like, I was like, it was all day. I did a mushroom ceremony, and it was all day, and I was just out in the sun and just, in my own mind. And then I was smelling real bad, and then I smelled myself. And ever you catch a smell of yourself, and I was like, oh my God, I stink. And then the knowingness said, like, you stink because you eat dead, rotting flesh. And it said, if you want life, then you eat life. That's what this knowingness said to me. And then
notice how Joe doesn't jump in here. He's content to let Rashad continue despite the fact that he's just been told that the universe, mass consciousness, God, whatever you want to call it, thinks that Joe eats rotten meat and quite possibly stinks because of it. No defensiveness whatsoever. That's very humble of him. I'm really impressed. I feel like I better step up my game. I must say though, despite being vegan after a hard training session, I can still smell bad. Today I reeked of shattered carnivore dreams. Game up and commences tomorrow, I swear.
I was like, that's a strange thought to just come into my mind like that. And then after that, no kidding, I just lost my taste for meat.
Anyway, that was it for the vegan part. They then trailed off into an interesting conversation about plant medicines, which is well worth a listen if that's of interest to you. I've linked the podcast below. Now, if that's not your cup of ayahuasca, click this instead.
You always save me, trombone elephant.